Good day. I'm Mike James, and this is Parkitect Alpha 7. We've got a bunch of new features in Alpha 7. First, Go-karts. We've got Go-karts. They're fully customizable. You can lay down the track any way you want. And there's a mod that came out right with the Go-karts. Right now it's a mod. It is going to be integrated into the game come Alpha 8, where you can have these little barriers and the tires and other accoutrements to make your go-kart path look great. Also, added ad campaigns so you can now advertise to try to get more people in the park. Added research. Now, the default when you just play the game is everything is already researched, but if you make just a scenario for yourself, you can determine what can and can't be researched and what's already researched when you start the game. Added vandalism. I don't know if you remember Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2 had vandalism where people weren't happy, they'd break stuff. We've got that now. Also, added a new background song. I turn off the music, so I'm not really, don't care about that. Added a bunch of new sounds. This I do care about. They added sounds for crows, among other things. And those crows are just so annoying. They added being able to change transparency of hidden objects if you want to be able to see through buildings a little more when you make them transparent. Added steeper slopes for wooden coasters. That's great. And they improved the grid lines and height markers when you're building. It makes it a little easier when you're building things, and so the labels are a little easier to read. And they improved how workers get assigned tasks, so the worker that's closer is more likely to go instead of having someone from halfway across the park. And they're also going to respect the zones that you assign them to a little bit more. There's so much going on in Alpha 7. I'm going to show you my go-kart track and vandalism. Hang on tight. Alpha 7 is coming right at you. So we've got some great stuff for you. First, I set up this little park just to show you a little bit about the vandalism. What I've done here is I've set up a park with just a loop. I put in a bathroom and a couple of food stalls, although it takes forever for the worker I've got here. I didn't put a lot of workers in. But you will notice that on the left, you will see I have some security guards, and I'm going to add more in a little bit. I just didn't want to hire them all at once or they'd all get tired at the same time. So on the left, we have security guards. I want to see if security guards being in the area will impact vandalism. On the right, I don't have any security guards. It is just the same setup. You know, we've got 6 benches, 4 garbage cans, and we're going to watch. Let this go on for a little while and watch and see. First of all, hopefully we'll get some vandalism, but also we want to see if there is a difference between how much vandalism occurs when there isn't anybody watching you to where the man is looking out. Now, I do want to let you know that vandalized items can get repaired by your mechanics. Now that means mechanics are going to be a little more important, and you'll see that a little later. I don't have a lot of mechanics. I just have just enough to keep my rides going in my park. And when I was looking at it, man, stuff's busted up all over. You know, and my people are pretty happy. So maybe I need to hire a couple more security guards because they weren't important before, and maybe a couple more mechanics to fix the destruction. Now, one thing I don't think that they have, the effect, the broken window effect. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if you have a street, and this is where I'm hiring the workers, and you have one broken window, the odds that another window is going to get broken are a lot higher because people tend to disrespect the area and think that nobody cares about it. It's a weird psychological thing, but it does occur. If you have a street with no broken windows, it's much less likely to have broken windows on that street in the future. Break one window, and the likelihood goes up tremendously that more windows or more vandalism in general is going to occur. Now here you see I just hired some extra security people, and they're going to come in, and I have them all assigned to the zone on the left. So on the right, we're going to, it's been a little while. The people have had time to get a little frustrated. Oh, look here. Boom. Guy just destroyed my bench. You pain in the butt. Oh, look, another one. oh, yeah, these people are really not happy. So far, we're 2-0 on the vandalism front. And if you pay attention, look at the top, you'll see a security guard running out of his zone to come get this guy, and he gets kicked out of the park. Now, they don't actually have it programmed where he actually, handcuffs him or anything. But if you watch, that guy with the light brown hair after the security guard came and got him, he is going to walk and leave the park. And I've noticed this happens every time a security guard catches you. And apparently you don't have to be right next to the security guard for this to happen. They must have a sense. They have an ESP. So, I think that's just really neat. Not only do the security guards run towards you, and man, they run, but they actually kick you out of the park if you're a troublemaker. Oh, wait, here's another one. Look. Boom. The destruction on this garbage thing isn't tremendous. It just kind of leans it over a little bit, but it did happen. And look at the bottom. We've got a security guard running out. Now, I went to see if this guy, I clicked on the guy to see if he was unhappy, and he's pretty unhappy. But when the security guard gets there, yeah, the happiness goes way down because he's getting kicked out of the park. So don't mess with my park. My security people are gonna kick you out. This is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just see what the total number. Right now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 seats plus the garbage can. And on the side with the security guards, we did have some vandalism, but just one instance. And if you look over here, we're actually going to get another case of vandalism right now on the right-hand side. So a total of 5 benches and 1 trash can, maybe more, because it's kind of hard to see when the trash cans get dinged. I think that first one on the bottom left of the right-hand side is also out of sorts. But so that's vandalism. And you notice we had 2 security guards come and escort this guy out. He must be really special because he got the attention of 2 of my security guards. So I think this is amazing. It's a small little thing, but it's little touches like this. If you get caught by the security guard, you get kicked out of the park. I think that's fabulous. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I do appreciate all your comments down below. I think this is a great addition to the game. Now let's go ahead and move on to my go-karts. I made a go-kart track, and I'm going to show you here how it's put together. Now, one thing I will tell you is when you're making these go-kart tracks, you want to go ahead and when you're making a curve, have that curve be at least 2 units long. And all my curves here are at least 2 units long. And the reason is, if you do them just 1 unit long, it almost makes like a 90-degree curve. And it just doesn't really look good. Plus, most go-kart tracks aren't going to have that anyway. You'll notice I had a nice little track, kind of compact with a nice overpass. We're going to add some trees. Now, one of the problems with adding trees is if you run off the course, you don't want to hit a tree. I've been to a lot of go-kart tracks. I'm here in Florida, and we have them because they're available year round. And they do have trees, but they always have tires and barriers. So you'll notice I'm going to put just a ton of tires, and this is from that car set, not the car set, but the I think they call it the go-kart set or something. But it's going to be integrated into the game in the next alpha. So that's going to be great. You won't even have to download a mod for this. But I just kind of throw tires and railings all up around to make this as safe as it can be, at least to look as with all things, nobody ever runs off the track. The karts always just stay on the track. They go back and forth and they do change lanes, but they don't ever actually crash. But you want your track to look as real as possible. And if you've watched my videos, I have a lot of fun just thinking about what would actually happen if this was an actual park. That's a lot of the fun here. Got hay bales. That's one of the things I used a little bit here too. You notice I may have gone a little overboard. You can put these barriers down. You can put these railings down, but you can put the barrels or the sets of tires down 1, 2, or 4 at a time. Hay bales are just 1 at a time, but I put a lot in, and honestly, I think it really looks good from a thematic standpoint. I think it just makes everything look good. And I tried to put them in logical places. For example, I always put a barrel when a railing starts so you can't, go into the railing right at that hard point right at the beginning. And I'm going to also put some buildings in here. And the reason for the buildings is when you're in one of these parks and they have a go-kart place, well, you've got to have a building for them to keep the extra go-karts and to repair, like a little workshop and things. I add one of those. I also add a little like a little area for the go-karts to go into an enclosed area. Just add a little bit of excitement, a little bit of fun. You hear the rasp of the engine as you go in there. If you've never been on a go-kart track, you're missing out. I haven't been on one in several years, but it's just so much fun. And, you know, the cars don't have to go really fast to have a lot of fun. Now, you'll notice I took this this big half tire thing, and I just threw it out on that water tower just to add something in that area. And see these tires here? You notice I put a bunch of them to make one big long tire. And now I'm enclosing the overpass. The reason I enclose the overpass is because I don't want it to look like you could just fly off of the overpass. Here's that building I was talking about that I just made it so that you could go ahead and go into a building and kind of just have a little variation. It makes it a little fun. You notice I angled off the corners, and the reason I did that is because if I had the building going right up against the track, it just didn't look quite right. This is what I decided to do for like a maintenance shed, and that door there is actually the gate from More Hedges. Here's the cars from the car set. They're all the same car. I just colored them a little differently just to add something and just make it look cool. I think that go-kart track looks awesome. What do you think? Have you downloaded Alpha 7? If you haven't, you really got to. It's just amazing. Now I want to show you a little bit about the research. So I'm going to make a scenario, and I'm going to show you how the actual research works. The idea behind the research is if you make your own scenario, you can decide what's available when you first start off and what is available to research. So you click here on your little research tab, and anything that says it's unlockable on the left, that left-hand column, means that it can be obtained in the game. Anything that is on the right and says it's locked means you don't currently have it. What this means is that all those items near the bottom of the list there, the decorations and the flat rides, they're all unlockable and they're not locked, meaning they'll be available as soon as you start the game. However, if you notice Go-karts here, it's unlockable, but it is currently locked, meaning you have to research it. The log flume is unlockable and it's not currently locked, meaning it's available right away. All the other coasters are not unlockable and they are currently locked, meaning that you cannot get those coasters in this scenario. There's no way to research them and they're not available. And I just did this to kind of show you the difference. The go-karts, not unlocked when you start the game, but they can be unlocked. Log flume, available right away. All the other coasters are not unlockable, and I'm going to take that little tick off the Alpine coaster. They're not unlockable, and they are locked, meaning the only things in the coaster category in this scenario is going to be the log flume, and then if you research it, the go-karts. So we have that all set up, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save the scenario. We're going to load it back in, and I'm going to show you how this works. So let's go ahead and save it. Oh, by the way, I am still getting crashes when I exit the game. If I quit here, that's fine. But if I try to quit the game, if I hit quit right here, I still get a crash. I'm not sure what's causing that. I'm pretty sure it's one of my mods. So we're going to load this scenario back up. And we're going to show you exactly what I mean. I mean, this is a pretty big deal. You're going to actually be able to start making scenarios. You can already determine, and I don't know what that error is. I think it's just because I was jumping around a lot. It says my performance is getting low. It looked fine. You could set how much money you have, and you'll notice the log flume is available right from the get-go. So I can build a log flume right away. But there is no go-kart here, and this is where the go-kart would be. That means we've got to go ahead and research it. So we click here on the Money tab, click on the little research beaker, change it to coasters because that's where it is, and I purposefully only left one item researchable so we could show you it is going to be the actual go-karts. Now it says it's preparing to start research. I speed it up a little bit here. It takes a minute to get it going so it can decide what it's going to research. And if you increase the money, and you'll notice, currently working on go-karts. And that little green line tells you exactly how much time you have to wait. And it goes pretty slow, but in game time, as much time as you could easily sink into this game, it's not going to be long. Of course, I am paying $2 million to research it, so, or maybe it was 200,000. So let's go back to my the park I've been working on. You've seen a lot of this before. I've completed the decorations on the Main Street area, and I wanted to show you where I am. I haven't completed all the updates I want to do on this area here. I did build fences. If you look in between the buildings here, in between the Ferris wheel and the restrooms and the Weenie Hut Junior stand and the rest area with the little tarps hanging over it, you notice there's a fence in between the buildings, so you can't see through to where the people are delivering all the products and all the workers and the repairmen and everything. You don't see that, and that's supposed to be something that that really impacts the happiness of your guests. Now you notice a lot of my benches are kaput. Look at my lights. Look at my street lights. They're all bent. I've got to get more people in this park to take care of my vandals. You'll notice I added the chair swing. You've seen that before in my my barrel ride, and the double Ferris wheel here. If you've watched my my show for a while, you recognize these. This is my racing coaster. They had a contest for this, and I didn't get it done in time, basically because I said you couldn't use mods. Over here in the corner is where I'm going to put my go-kart track. You'll see that's the one we were just looking at before. There's Splinter. You've probably seen that. I've been working on that. That thing's been in my parks for about the past 8 or 9 months. You'll notice I have the beginnings of a train system here just to shuffle people around the areas of the small park. I just wanted to lay it down so I had an idea where I could put other things in my park and not have to kind of weave around them or have a problem. And right here, this is my dragon coaster. I'm going to show you that in a future video, building that. That was a lot of fun, and it's a great coaster. I really love it. So stay tuned for that. But what do you think? I think this park is just looking absolutely fabulous. I'm having a lot of fun. The performance is really improved from just a couple months ago. A couple months ago, if I had this much in one park, using the free camera mod that I use really impacts performance a lot. I am still getting, it still impacts my performance, but I'm getting an acceptable playable frame rate even using that mod that I use that lets me have these nice angles and everything. So tell me what you think. Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget, I appreciate all the subscriptions. And until next time, I hope each and every one of you has a good one.
Oh, så party fra. Det er med det der. Rice is nice. Beep. Bad. What do we do? Det er med det der. Ah, shabab. Shabab. You calling North Wales all of your money.